Hey everyone! Today we are diving into something pretty powerful. The invisible force that actually makes learning stick. Because it's not just about what you know, right? It's about how you make someone feel seen, feel understood. We're going to unpack the power of compassion in instruction.
So, think about it for a second. We've all had good teachers, sure, but what about those few who totally changed how you saw a subject, or maybe even how you saw yourself? What was their secret? It wasn't just that they were smart, was it?
And there it is. That's the heart of it. The real magic, the stuff that lasts, happens in that space between the instructor and the learner. It's all about building a real connection, creating trust, making a place where people actually want to learn.
Okay, so how do we actually build that connection? Well, that's what we're digging into today. We're going to unpack a framework for becoming a more compassionate and way more effective instructor. And it's all built on this one key idea, behavioral intelligence.
So this is the big idea we're working with, behavioral intelligence. It isn't about knowing all the right answers. It's about having the awareness to actually see what's going on with your audience, and then having the skill to adapt. And you know, this is way harder than it sounds, because our default mode is to just focus on what we're saying, not on how it's actually being received.
And that is a perfect way to think about it. You can have the most brilliant information in the world, but if you don't have a bridge to get it over to your audience, well, it's just stuck on your side of the river. Behavioral intelligence is basically the blueprint for building that bridge. Let's start with the first core piece of this. We're going to break down what it really means to have this so-called intelligence of behavior.
It's just a terrible feeling, isn't it? You see the blank stares, people shifting in their seats, maybe the phones start to creep out. That exact moment of disconnect. That's what behavioral intelligence is designed to stop before it even starts.
So what's really cool here is that this breaks down reading the room into actual things you can look for. Are they engaged? Where are they getting confused? What's the vibe? Your brain is already processing all of this stuff constantly. The real skill is learning to trust that gut feeling and then actually acting on it instead of just plowing ahead with your script.
And this is so important. This is not some kind of magic power. It is a skill you can train. It's all about paying attention, noticing the little patterns, and learning to interpret the signals that people are giving off all the time, whether they mean to or not.
Okay, so you've observed what's happening in the room. Now what? Well, that brings us to our second element, how your own internal attitude directly shapes your actions.
I mean, this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got the instructor who sees a confused face, and their first instinct is to ask, hey, what part of that didn't land right? But you know what's really going on? It's emotional contagion. Your internal state, whether you're feeling impatient or genuinely curious, is literally infectious. People don't just hear your words, they catch your attitude. And the results are, well, night and day.
And that's really what it all boils down to for this section. Your mindset. Do you see learners as partners or just as empty buckets to pour information into? That mindset directly controls how you act. And believe me, they can feel it.
All right, let's get to our final piece of the puzzle. And this might just be the most powerful one of them all. Let's talk about the messages we send without ever saying a single word.
Seriously, think about it. What's your posture like right now? What about that person in the last meeting you were in who had their arms crossed the whole time? We are constantly broadcasting information with our bodies, and when you're an instructor, that broadcast has to be in perfect sync with your words.
This gives us some really practical, concrete examples. But listen, if you only master one of these, make it the encouraging nod. Seriously, psychologically, it works like a little social reward, and it gives the learner's brain a tiny hit of dopamine. It's a nonverbal way of saying, you've got this, keep going. That's one of the most powerful confidence builders there is.
So why does all that nonverbal stuff matter so much? Because when you hear that over 70% of all communication is nonverbal, that's not just some fun trivia fact. It means the trust you build with an open posture, a warm expression, or a simple nod, that can completely change how the other 30%, your actual words, are even heard.
So, we've looked at the three core pieces: observing behavior, aligning your attitude, and managing your nonverbals. Let's put it all together into a practical toolkit you can start using right away.
Here it is in 3 simple, doable steps. First, you just observe. You gather the data. Second, you check in with yourself. Is your attitude in the right place? Are you genuinely curious? And third, you use your body language to send the message of empathy and support. And here's the crucial part.
These are not separate skills. They all work together in this powerful feedback loop. Your positive nonverbal signals make people feel safe. When they feel safe, they engage more, they ask better questions, and that gives you even better behavioral cues to observe. See how it works? You're not just teaching at them, you're creating the perfect learning environment with them.
So that leaves us with a little challenge, because this stuff isn't just for a classroom or a training session. This is for a business meeting, a talk with your kids, any conversation where understanding really truly matters. So what's your first move going to be? Are you going to focus on spotting those little cues, checking your own attitude, or maybe just practicing that simple, encouraging nod? The choice is yours. Thanks for joining me.